Eugene Medford was not a happy man. In fact, he was furious and could barely contain his anger. He paced the room furiously, rereading the private investigator's report he had just received. Fortunately, his two teenage daughters were not home this Thursday night. His wife, his only source of joy, was presumably on her usual bachelorette party. But, as the report he'd read confirmed what he'd long suspected, Ashland was actually at the Starlight Motel with her shitty lover Donald Gresham. Various plans for revenge ran through his head as he drank his fourth glass of scotch. He could feel the consequences, but he wasn't drunk yet. At least not drunk enough to not kill both of these assholes with his bare hands. Emotion took over and he threw his glass at the fireplace, the glass shattering into 1,000 shards. It sounded like a gunshot. Bastards! There was a knock on the door. It was actually a loud knock. "Police! Open up!" Eugene was angry enough as it was, and he needed someone to vent his anger on. And the police would be a good target. Some traffic cop wrote him a ticket tonight, right around the corner of his house. He claimed that Eugene had failed to come to a complete stop. That's just what I need. He walked over, swung open the front door, and was about ready to tell those cops everything on his mind when he realized he was looking at 3 barrels pointed straight at his heart. What the hell does that mean? Oh, shit. The next thing Eugene realized was that he was lying on the floor. "Let me up, you bastards! I didn't do anything." When the dust settled, he was sitting on the couch rubbing his sore wrists, but the officers apologized for their actions because they thought they heard a gunshot. There were 2 men in uniform, and Detective Sergeant Mitchell Springfield in his old crumpled polyester suit that he had apparently bought at 3-Day Suits. "Mr. Medford, do you know Donald Gresham?" "Yeah, he's a piece of shit who sleeps with my wife." Detective Springfield was surprised that Medford admitted to knowing Gresham. "Well, Mr. Gresham was killed about an hour ago, leaving a motel room with your wife. Too bad. I thought only the good ones died young. Did whoever did this kill my wife, too? Please tell me the answer is yes?" Eugene smiled at the detective. "It's no laughing matter, Mr. Medford. You're the prime suspect in his murder. Where were you an hour ago? One of your asshole traffic cops was writing me a ticket on the street. Now get out of my house. Look, Mr. Medford, we're just doing our job. Surely you realize that when a wife's lover is murdered, the husband is certainly a suspect? Well, but isn't that true of all the husbands whose wives this asshole slept with?" "Well, yes, I'm sure you're right," replied a flabbergasted Detective Springfield. "Well, Detective Mitchell Springfield, your wife Victoria, residing at 123 Ashland Avenue, you must be a suspect because Gresham is sleeping with your wife, too." Eugene tossed a photograph that clearly showed Springfield's wife fucking Gresham in a bed that the detective thought was his exclusive. Springfield stared at the photograph, turned green, and vomited right onto the carpet in Eugene's living room. He slumped to the floor in a daze. The 2 uniformed police officers didn't know what to do and just stood there with their mouths open in shock. "By the way, where is my loving wife?" Springfield didn't react. One of the policemen spoke up. "She's in our patrol car, waiting to get some of her things safely away. She's going to be staying at her parents' house for a while. Maybe it would be better if we just take her there now." Eugene nodded. "That's definitely a good idea. Why don't you help the detective to his feet and take him outside? Don't bother, I'll clean up the mess." And he let them go with a wave of his hand. They helped the half-comatose Springfield to his feet and out the door. Medford closed it behind them. "Phew, I guess getting that fine was lucky for me after all." He started looking for some rags, whistling to himself.